It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, December the 4th. Good morning. I'm clapping as I speak. I'm excited. It's Monday. I'm fired up.
Why should do that?
It's crazy.
Trick, maybe.
Hang on. One, two, three, four. That's right. Clap on the 2 and 4, folks. Clap on the 2, 3, 4. Not on the 1 and no, don't do that.
You ever see that movie, The Jerk, where he tries to?
Oh, sure.
Montevani.
That's me. I can't keep a beat.
You're not alone there, fella. Don't sweat it. Not lot of 1 and 3 clappers out there in the world. The band Golden Earring we just heard from. By the way, fun fact about Golden Earring: they disbanded. They officially called it quits. Their guitarist, they're Dutch, of course. Their guitarist George Koymans was diagnosed with ALS, and they said, "Okay, we're gonna pull the plug on the band." That was in 2021. Golden Earring formed in 1961.
Wow.
Golden
Really?
Earring was the first ever 60-year band.
That's a tarnished earring.
I'm telling you what, man. They were, you tell me if pot's good for you. The Dutch, they hang around. No, 60 years. I mean, no, it's amazing. They were playing gigs in 1961 as Golden Earring. Wow. And never stopped until they had to. That's a pretty incredible thing. And I mean, sometimes, you hear about bands pulling the plug, and sometimes it makes sense. And then sometimes you hear about bands pulling the plug, and your reaction is, wait, I'm sorry, what? They're still a band? Are you kidding me? Scorpions touring in 2025. Not 24. They've already announced the 25 because that'll be their 60th. That'll be their 60th year. They started in 1965. Did you know Scorpions were a band when Satisfaction was on the radio? They go back that far.
Not a good one.
Well, but the point remains. Yeah. Shoulder to the wheel, a fine agrarian mindset.
Yes.
We're going to work the plows in the land of the rock and roll situations, and we're going to go to Hanover and say, hello, hometown. Speaking of hometown bands that were around for a really long time, the end of the road tour Saturday night at Madison Square Garden, there's a band called Kiss. You guys know who Kiss is?
I was in the Army, baby.
Yeah. Oh, I was in the Army for a hot minute back in the Destroyer the Destroyer Rock and Roll Over era. By the time Love Gun came out, I'd moved on to more mature music. But the point remains. the point remains. Kiss pulled the plug. They really did on Saturday night, only to then plug back in. They are the first band. They're the first band to literally. They're going to stage an Avatar show. They are literally. You can go see Kiss, but it's not really Kiss. Holograms, avatars, the whole thing. They walked off stage. They were like, "Thank you, good night, we love you." And then on the big screen, they said, "Hey, stick around for a very special announcement," and Paul Stanley said, "The end of the road is the beginning of another road. We're not going anywhere. You'll see us all in different things all the time. We'll see you in your dreams." And then, of course, I always thought Kiss was going to menudo themselves, actually hire other people to be them for generation after generation after generation.
That'd be cool.
Why not? I mean, Tommy Thayer is essentially Ace Frehley. The little drummer guy is essentially the original little drummer guy. What's the difference? But no, they decided they're not doing that. Gene and Paul probably couldn't stand the thought of someone else being Gene and Paul on stage. But they're going to hologram themselves. Do we have, just because, my God, 50-plus years, can I just get a little Paul Stanley audio, Zep? Is that possible?
Oh, yeah.
Our shows are about joy. The future is so exciting. We can live on eternally. The band deserves to live on because the band is bigger than we are.
That's right. No more tomorrow, baby. Time is today. Girl, I can make you feel okay.
Yeah.
If you pull the trigger of my love gun.
Hell yeah. This
is like comic books and Marvel movies and the Star Wars franchise that's gone on long past they've made a decent movie, which was only the first Star Wars movie they made. in 77.
Yeah.
You know, but you go back, you harken back, like Kraft mac and cheese. There is much better mac and cheese options today. Many mac and cheese options that are better today, not only at restaurants, but they're on the store shelves. But I had it recently, and I just gobbled it up. I couldn't get enough of it. I'm like, it just brought me back to that schoolboy. You know what's
funny? We did not discuss this ahead of time. I had mac and cheese last week, Kraft mac and cheese last week. I had the exact same damn thing happen at the grocery store, and I just saw it, and I was like, man, when's the last time? And I brought it home. Rosemary goes, what are you doing? I go, just get out of the way.
I don't want to freak you guys out, but I also bought mac and cheese the last time I was at the grocery store.
What in the hell?
Man,
what's going on here?
Kiss is the Kraft mac and cheese of rock and roll. Tony, let's go 4 for 4 here.
Nothing better than that sound, the stirring sound.
Oh, yeah, the glopping. The glopping and the sticking. And
when I was in college, my brother was dating a girl, and she goes, why do you put milk in it? Just use water. And I was like, what? No. Oh, get away. I was like, you got to break up with her. Yeah, no, that's too important.
Yeah.
But so end of the road for Kiss. No Gene, no Peter. But no Gene. Listen to me. No Ace, no Peter. I should say. But seriously, whatever you think about Kiss, like you said, Zepp, I know so many people like you and me. I was in the Kiss Army for a little while, and then you move on to other things. But there are more than enough of us out there. I know plenty of people my age right now who never, ever, ever, ever tired of the band Kiss. They never thought there was something else out there. I mean, there are Kiss Army lifers. I know I could name half a dozen off the top of my head. When I saw Kiss the first time, I took my son when he was like 8. And I couldn't believe, I'm thinking, man, when I was 8, if you said that Kiss would still be doing this in 2008, I would have laughed at you. I couldn't believe the dads and their kids dressed as Kiss characters. There was like, there's 2 Gene, there's multi-generational Pauls. There they are. And more of the little girls were all going with Paul, the lover. You know what I mean? Like not too many girls dressed as Gene. But, it was really... It was really heartwarming. I felt like a jerk for kind of looking down my nose at Kiss a little bit. And then when I saw them the first time live, way after, I mean, I would have killed to see them back in the 70s.
Yeah.
It wasn't until 2008. And when I did, I went, I'm so stupid. I totally missed the whole this is amazing. This is really, it's not supposed to be more complicated. No. You mentioned the song Love Gun. They were sitting around. Someone played them Achilles' Last Stand by Zeppelin. They were like, that's cool, but make it way simpler. Okay, rhythmically speaking, I like that.
So they need one chord, and then the lyrics are just ridiculous. You find yourself at some point singing along.
Of course.
And for me, it was like 14, and I went, I can't keep. Yeah. No, I have to mature into something else. Like Journey, something deep.
I was going to say
there was like AC/DC.
Well, that was me. For me, it was like, God, man, I don't know about this Kiss thing, but what's this AC/DC all about?
That's not bad, right over there.
Sure.
I'll tell you, I have some friends, and I know a good buddy of mine, Jet, listening right now. Kiss was present at his wedding, in big window, what do they call those things? Window stickers or whatever that they put in there. But there was a presence. He's had a Kiss bike. I mean, some people really just, wear it on their sleeves and take it. They'll go. He'll be at the hologram show. And if I'm in a town somewhere where the hologram show is playing, I might just pop in with a good buzz. You never know. We'll have to keep that. We should get a Kiss super fan on a little bit later on this morning.
That makes sense.
See if we can't round one up here for you or take some of your calls. But right now we got to get along to I almost said Tom Evans. It was like I was doing the Mike Evans Hollywood Report, just screwing it up just enough to make it fun.
Sure.
No, Mike Evans with the Hollywood Dirt from the weekend. There had to be a lot going on. We're going to catch up with Mike here at 6:30. Hang tight.
Oh, goody.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Monday, December the 4th. Heart Crazy on You. Heart was my first concert ever, and Heart is playing in Seattle this New Year's Eve. The Wilson sisters back together again.
Awesome.
Shabang, shabow. And then depending on how the vibes are and whatnot, there could very well be a Heart tour in 2024.
Yeah.
So are they getting along again?
Well, they're going to find out New Year's Eve. You know what I mean? A big night in Seattle, their hometown. Boy, I'd like to see Heart again.
Yeah.
I'd go see Heart again. I'd go see Kiss again. Oh, except I can't because Kiss pulled the plug Saturday night. For real, yo. But they did announce the Avatar tour or the hologram tour or the
Same thing.
You really didn't think we were going away? Did you ever really think that tour? But that's neither here nor there. Plenty of Kiss stuff to talk about throughout the show. I'm dying to hear from Kiss fans if you're out there. 651-989-ROCK. Hit us up on the KQ Talking text line. One of the most divisive and successful bands of all time. Certainly as iconic a band as there has ever been. Kiss. Good job, fellas. I mean, seriously, way to run that sucker up the flagpole and keep it up there for over 50 years. Let's talk about Hollywood, shall we? It's time for a pre-recorded Mike Evans Hollywood Report. Bum, 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 bum.
Wow. It played a second ago.
Uh-oh.
Hang on, kids.
Here we go. We're working. Textures in the wheel.
Text he sent.
Man, I'm hearing all the little mouse clicks. Sometimes there's technical difficulties, and hey, you know what? Tony has thrown his hands up in the air. Throw your hands up in the air like you just don't care, Tony.
Well, we know that. I think I know where he would jump in here.
Where's that?
That the Chiefs lost their first game with Taylor Swift in attendance up there at Lambeau, right over here next door.
So much for what about the fact that
there you go. Kids.
There we go. Hang on. Back to the Chiefs in a minute.
Monday report. We're on the road again. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, it's me, Mike Evans. Welcome to Monday, and I'm on the road again. We start off with well, I wasn't going to mention this, but I am your Hollywood reporter.
Yeah.
This is the talk of Hollywood. And it involves an Academy Award winner. So here you go. 2 weeks ago, Susan Sarandon went on this horrible, mean, very hateful anti-Israel rampage. I mean, it was nasty, brutal, a public rampage.
What?
She went on and on and on so much that her agent and her manager and just about everybody in Hollywood turned against her.
Oh, boy.
Her agent fired her.
Oh, boy.
Well, that was 2 weeks ago. On Friday, she went public. Susan Sarandon saying that she was very, very sorry for her comments and hoped people would forgive her. Well, the good news is her agent forgave her and has re-signed her. Here's my comment. Hollywood celebrities should stay in their lane and just act. It's your acting that the people love you for. Nobody cares about a celebrity's political views. And you're going to probably just piss off half the people with whatever you say either way you go. If you don't believe me, just ask Disney Studios. Movie news, speaking of Disney Studios, they're back on the right track, confirming that Tim Allen has signed to return for the next Toy Story. And maybe for one more after that. Tim was dropped in favor of Chris Evans for the movie Lightyear. I mean, the movie was horrible. It lost $125 million. So I say good for Disney and good for Tim Allen to be back in the fold for Toy Story. Oh, I Am Legend 2 has got a green light with Will Smith. I don't know. I think it's going to be a huge bomb. A couple of odds and ends. I was invited to a private nude restaurant near Malibu.
Wait, what?
Of course, I passed. No need me showing my shortcomings. I mean, it could only happen in L.A. and San Francisco. And there was a very private memorial dinner and service for Suzanne Summers last week with tons of celebrities getting together, telling stories. It was held at the Stone Eagle Golf Course in Palm Desert. That's my old club, just outside Palm Springs. Suzanne Summers was buried at the Tiny Desert Memorial Cemetery in Cathedral City, which is a suburb of Palm Springs. Also buried there, Frank Sinatra's dad, Frank Sinatra's mom, Frank Sinatra's wife, and Frank Sinatra.
Well, that checks out.
And all the Gabor sisters are buried there. Also, actor William Powell, WKRP's Dr. Johnny Fever, Howard Hessman, and two of my friends, former Dodger player and coach Pete Reeser, and my good friend, Sonny Bono. May they all rest in peace in the small little Cathedral City cemetery called Desert Memorial. We're on the road again. Oh, Phillies will talk to you again tomorrow by MP3. Have a great day. Mike Evans. See ya.
Fair enough. The Mike Evans Hollywood Report. Can I say one thing? Yeah. And I love Mike. And if he were live, I would have had this back and forth with him. And I understand when he says, hey, no one cares what celebrities think. Well, I don't care what my uncle thinks, but he has every right to tell me. I don't think celebrities all go into politics because they're like, I'm a celebrity. They're just Americans. Who do you know that doesn't have an opinion? And I think that you're more than welcome to ignore a celebrity or decide not to see their movie again. They're taking that chance. Yeah. Why tell someone to shut up and act? Just shoot. I used to do sports talk, and I used to say, I love when athletes tell me what they think, whether I agree or not. It's just more interesting. Right. I don't like everybody just towing the party line. Go ahead, say what you think. I mean, I have friends who believe all kinds of crazy stuff to me.
What would you boycott of Susan Sarandon's? Has she been in a movie in the last 20 years?
She runs like a ping pong club in New York City.
Yeah,
seriously, right? That's the last I heard. She's obsessed with table tennis, and owns a bar where you can go play ping pong. That's what you do when you have all the money you'd ever need for a million lifetimes and a couple of Oscars. You play ping pong.
She has a couple of Oscars. Boy, they just hand those things out like candy, don't they?
Oh, come on. When she's good, she's great. I mean, I think I've got no beef. I mean,
Bull
and
Durham,
by the way,
she was pretty sassy.
She was great.
She was in Bull Durham.
And I say this as a guy. I've heard her run her mouth, and I've disagreed vehemently with some of the things she said. But it was a great actor. I mean, who cares? I mean, I just look at it like everybody's opinion has the same weight, and that weight is however much you decide to give it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, she gets all that attention because she is a celebrity.
Exactly. Okay, now, think as I think, and we're all going to get along just fine. Let's look back. How about a history lesson, Mr. Tony Lee?
Oh, sorry, Stephen.
Oh, that's quite all right. Boy,
it's one of those fine morns.
The Gremlins are out after the weekend.
Here we go.
I'm excited.
And here's you.
So, my friend, how do we begin?
Who is in charge here?
Who is in charge?
He plays the drums.
Well, hello, Steve.
Good morning. It's December 4th. On this day in 2001, here's a little sports history. O.J. Simpson was involved in an incident with another motorist in Miami, Florida. They got chirping, and O.J. was accused of scratching the other motorist's face because he ripped the guy's sunglasses off his head. I have a quick question. Who's chirping at O.J. Simpson? O.J. double homicide Simpson. O.J. guillotine Simpson.
Susan Sarandon?
Yeah, exactly. OJ gets in my face. I'm sorry. I'm backing away. The man has taken human life twice. Who? If he cuts me off in traffic, you know what I'm doing? Okay.
Yeah.
Go right ahead, dude. I'd like to see my kids again.
He's got a little itchy trigger finger.
That's what I'm saying. He's got an itchy, stabby, slashy finger, too.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Monday, December the 4th. Good morning. How about those Vikings? That bye week, huh? Yeah. Actually, what I mean is, how about those Packers? They're pretty good all of a sudden. I guess there's something to be said for sitting a quarterback for a few years and letting him watch. Because, man, Jordan Love looks like he knows how to play football all of a sudden.
Yeah, he does.
How the hell did that happen? I did not have that on my bingo card, as they say. Man, just the notion that Packers fans are happy now just bums me out. I've been here a year and I'm already like, I can't believe it. Screw them. It's ridiculous, man. But anyway, otherwise, what are you going to do? That's just the way it goes. Packers are generally pretty darn good. Life is unfair. I'm giving up.
Did you watch the Niners?
I watched the Niners kick the living snot out of the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, sir, to answer your question. Very impressive. That team is scary good right now. This is a good time of year to be good. The less we say about my Tennessee Titans, the better. Lost at home to the Colts in overtime.
It's next year.
No. Stop.
I mean, it feels like it's next year.
I wish it was next year because I'd be 1 year closer to my grave as a Titans fan. Like, just put me out of my misery. My God,
It
it's
seems
awful.
like the season is over now.
There's a lot of seasons being over right now. We did have one great moment from the NFL yesterday. At the very least, there's one thing. By the way, speaking of those Philadelphia Eagles getting the snot kicked out of them, they have that play called the tush push.
Sure.
4th and 1. Jalen Hurts just lines up right behind Jason Kelce, and they all go forward, and then a couple guys shove him from behind. They can get 1 yard, and nobody can stop it. It's impossible to stop. They've just figured out this basically a rugby move to get 1 yard. Right. And now word on the street is Roger Goodell wants to outlaw, like the NFL owners, the rules committee, they look at rules and they make changes every offseason. The word on the street is they're going to outlaw that play. They're going to just flat out say, thank you. They're just going to say, hey, this is no good. This isn't football. We're not supposed to do this.
It's not football. It's the very essence of football. It goes back to the beginning of football.
Yeah, thank you. That's exactly what it is. And that's the thing. It's like if you can't stop it, too bad. Figure out how to stop the damn thing.
And the best part is watching all the bodies come up off the pile, and Kelsey's there at the bottom just shaking grass out of his eyes.
It really is funny. And I'm like, I just always think if I had to run that play once, it wouldn't be the going forward and having a linebacker run into me at full force. It's my own teammate shoving me in the back that would scare me the most. Like those guys, like Jalen Hurts, you are just being pushed into a vice. Like someone from the front is running at you with all they have, and someone from the back is shoving you into that force. But so the tush push, the lean in, that thing probably ain't going to be going around much longer. But that said, the one highlight of the day yesterday actually wasn't necessarily what happened on the field, but a referee's description of what happened on the field. One call, one great audio from a referee from the Browns-Rams game that's worth sharing with you.
Prior to the receiver's leg hitting out of bounds, his butt cheek hit inbound. As a result, it's a catch.
Let him know, Hussey.
And a first down.
Let's go. If you had butt cheek on your bingo card for the NFL on Fox today, congratulations.
Prior to the leg, the butt cheek. Yeah. The flank, the rear hind quarter of the receiver.
Got the cheek down, man. That's a catch.
Cheek is pretty great. I like that.
Was it back in the old days with Madden? It was like 1 elbow equals 2 feet or something like that. And
sure.
Now you've got the butt. Just get a cheek down, boys.
My buttocks.
My buttocks. Zepp, you mentioned this earlier. What would you do if you're walking down the street and you find $1,000? A poll asked a lot of people what they thought. Oh, boy. 47% say they'd keep it if no one else was around. 53% of people lied when they answered that question. Because I'm sorry, if I come across $1,000 cash and I look around and I see no sign of anybody, I mean, I'm not outside, not on someone's front porch, not like underneath someone's driver's side tire, but if you're just walking around, you see it. I don't know that half of us are going to literally put a lot of effort into finding the rightful owner of $1,000.
Right, just walk around asking folks, did you lose $1,000? I mean, what I would do is I would make us both winners. I would go play pull tabs, probably over Frenchman's, win a couple of grand, and then replace the $1,000 where I found it and walk away a little richer myself.
Yeah, I'm always amazed. Once a year maybe there's always the armored truck overturns or some vehicle is just blasting bags of hundreds out the back on a usually in Nebraska on a highway if memory serves. And there's always the question of if you're driving along and you just see bags of cash on the highway, do you take them home with you? And my answer is probably so. That money's insured.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, and I don't think I feel bad about that at all. I mean, I would not take money if obviously whose it is or you have a pretty good sense. It's like if you find a puppy or a kitten, you're going to put up a flyer, but money's a different thing. I don't know. It's especially if you're just in the middle of nowhere in a remote area. But apparently, that's how that goes. But Zepp, didn't you have this situation come up just the other day?
Well, not exactly. I found a wallet in the parking lot, Cub Foods over on the West End. And because it was a wallet, if it just been an envelope of cash laying on the ground.
Oh, sure.
Who do you turn that into? But I found a wallet laying there. And, of course, my first reaction was, well, I'm in a hurry. I'll pick it up and take it back into the store. Someone's going to, because I look around, there's no cars parked by the wallet. It's in an empty parking stall. There's no cars next to it. And I'm kind of gazing around. I'm like, well, I can just leave it here, but someone else might take it. And of course, I opened up the wallet, just, and there I see a picture of a fella. And now I've made a personal connection. And I've got to take this wallet into the store, give it to customer service. So when he returns, that's where everyone would go to check it. Hey, has anyone turned in the wallet and have his wallet? I did notice there was a bunch of cash in there. I didn't count it though, so I just took it back in, turned it in, feeling pretty smug and good about my decision as as an upstanding citizen here in Minnesota. And as I walked out the revolving doors, they did not revolve, and I smashed right into them and broke my glasses. Practically my nose, too. I mean, there's like 5 people watching. And to make it worse, an old lady, like I'm talking in her 70s, said, "Oh, are you okay?" And so then I shoved her to the ground and kicked her in the stomach. And I said, "Yeah, are you okay?" No, I felt like a complete jackass. Just bought those glasses, too. So I did turn the dough in, but I found $4,000 one time in a mattress of an old man who had died, and I had to go in and clean out his apartment. Zip, get in there and clean out all his crap. Yeah. And his family had come over and gone through everything, and they didn't find anything, and they decided to leave. And when I would shovel the snow, Ed would come out and hang out with me while I shoveled snow over there at 125 Oak Grove over by Loring Park. And he would talk about he had family in town, but they'd never come visit. He goes, "Yeah, I have 2 kids. I haven't seen them in 10 years. They just don't come visit." And I'm like, well, so now I find $4,000 in Ed's mattress.
That's a real quandary. Knowing the kids didn't care.
What would you do? Yeah. I did turn it in because I was married. And I had a wife with scruples at the time, and she's like, "Yeah, we should turn it in." So, but we were super broke. I mean, there wasn't paycheck to paycheck. There was paycheck to about halfway to the next paycheck, and then, shuck and jive until you can get to the next paycheck. So we took a good long look at that and decided to turn it in, and they kicked us back a honeybee.
Well, the lesson, as always, is just don't tell your wife anything.
Right? Now I know. If I had known then, but I didn't. I was young, naive, and still learning these lessons. But, we did turn it in. I don't know if that bought me, a seat at the table upstairs or not. But
the main thing is, did you think about it? Let's say 72 hours later, were you still thinking about that money and what you could have done with it?
Still thinking about it. Yeah.
Okay. So and all these years later, bad decision. You made the wrong choice.
I guess at the time, it would have come in handy. However, and,
I would have loved the idea of you approaching the kids and going, "Man, the craziest thing happened. I found $4,000 in your dad's mattress, $4,000 in cash." And he always told me if you kids had ever just come to see him once, you could have his mattress. But apparently you didn't.
Yeah, I know it. I know there were 2 bank envelopes in there, and I opened up the first bank envelope, and I'm like, holy, and they're thick. Yeah. And I fan it out, it's $1 bills. I'm like, this old coot kept all of his $1 bills.
Strip club
guy.
And
I casually opened up the second one. Yeah, right. And fanned the second envelope out, and it was all 100s. And
there you go.
I started shaking a little bit. Oh, man. Rich!
I lost my wallet at the University of Minnesota campus one time, and somebody picked it up and turned it in, and I thought that was great, but I questioned it, and then as I walked out, I found a wallet, and it was full of money.
What?
And I thought, that's just karma just smacking me in the face right there, and I had to turn it in, but I hesitated for a minute.
Really?
Yeah. Like, no, if I got mine back, I got to turn this in.
Oh, especially when, you're just... we're scraping by. We're trying to make ends meet and that sort of thing. I don't know. Minnesota came in 50-50, by the way. Good old Minneapolis in this poll. Doesn't say Minnesota. I guess it says Minneapolis came in 50-50. But here we have Detroit at the top. That's 38%. Keep it with 60. Detroit is the least honest, And then Jacksonville, Florida lied their asses off. 62% said they'd turn in the money.
No, not buying it. Not buying it at all. Hey, did any of you guys ever run for student council in school? Were you ever class president, anything?
No, I wasn't. I didn't win, but it was kind of one of those things they made you run. They're like, it's your turn. You're going to run. And I think it was class treasurer, which was a joke because there was no money. We weren't kicking in the pot or anything. I think I had to vote on if we were going to sell apples and oranges that year or gift wrap paper or something like that. Why do you ask?
Candace, political run ever in your school years?
Can't say. No. Wasn't really political.
No, didn't want to be the person responsible for that homecoming dance.
I was voted best dressed. If that is cool.
That's as cool
is.
as it gets. Tony, student council ever?
Not too many skeletons in the closet. Yeah, terrified.
After the streaking
Streak to the polls and vote for Tony Lee.
Oh, he would have won by a landslide.
I did. I was class rep in 7th and 8th grade, and we literally just talked about the dances. What are you doing for a dance? What are you doing here?
But what else is there to deal with?
Well, there was an idea that we would talk about. We think the teacher should be cooler about. Nothing ever happened. But one of the reason I ask is because I remember being told everyone votes, and my English teacher, Mrs. Peterson, said, "Now you shouldn't vote for yourself." And I in 7th grade I was like, "What? But I want to win." She goes, "I know, but it's the gentlemanly thing is to not vote for yourself." Bullshit. And I said, "So I'm supposed to vote for the person I'm running against?" And she said, "Either that or abstain." And I was like, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life."
Yeah, that's why she's a teacher.
Yeah, it was the dumbest thing I've ever heard, and I knew that in 7th grade. A politician in Washington lost his city council election by 1 vote because he did not vote for himself.
See?
Yes, this is true. Rainier, Washington. It's right near Seattle. 2 guys are running, and Ryan Roth won by a single vote over Damian Green. Damian could have won, but he didn't vote for himself. And not only that, he explained to a reporter why he didn't. Listen to this.
I didn't feel comfortable voting for myself. I thought it was kind of narcissistic. So I didn't.
We have no changes to the results. Nice. It looks like Mr. Roth unofficially is leading, and so it become official this afternoon at 4 o'clock during our canvassing board meeting.
Awesome. Cool, man. Well, Damian's dumb enough to be a politician. First of all, you vote for yourself because of all those campaign, and I don't know if he campaigned a lot for the city council position, but you're telling people, I'm the best person for the job. I'm going to get the job done for you. And if you don't believe it yourself, you can't even vote for yourself, then you're just being disingenuous.
Well, that's exactly what it is. I'm the best person for the job. That should be your shtick, whether you mean that or not. I love that he says it's felt narcissistic. Narcissistic. Here's by the way, according to Duke Health, here's the 9 things about narcissism. Okay. One is a sense of self-importance. Again, no, the job is important and I'm good at it. I don't think that's arrogant to say I'm the best person to serve the public. Preoccupation with power, beauty, or success. Okay. It's city council, so we can rule that out. Entitlement. No, I don't think so. Can only be around people who are important or special. Again, see city council. Eliminate that. Interpersonally exploited for their own gain. It's a small town. Don't know how much you're going to get. Arrogant, lacking empathy, must be admired. Envious of others or believe that all others are envious of them. Now, we can all say, oh, we've known people like that, but I don't think this guy's that guy. Like, that's the weird, that's not narcissism. That's getting the wrong information in 7th grade and not recognizing it was nonsense back then.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm curious if this guy had my English teacher. She tried to get me not to vote for myself, and apparently it stuck with this dude.
I got, well, I'm kind of embarrassed. I got mocked for this. I got best sense of humor in high school. But I voted for myself, and a couple of my friends recognized that I did because I always used to use like a black flare when I wrote, and they recognized my writing. And they just mocked me incessantly. And I'm like, and at first I was embarrassed. And I thought, well, wait a minute. I didn't win by 1. I wasn't the deciding vote. And wouldn't you do that for yourself?
Right.
Yes.
You're right, Tony.
So it was.
It's called confidence, boys and girls.
It was an incident.
It's called believing in yourself. I don't know what to believe. In 7th grade, they told me to believe in myself, but to not vote for myself? Come on. You're making it up as you go. This ding-dong. I bet he does next time, though. He says he's going to run again. Just can't get enough, I guess.
Jeez.
Yeah, weirdo. Anyway, I want to go back to talking about Kiss because Candace put up this Kiss. We got a couple of Kiss photos. Candace, I forgot you did the Gene Simmons thing, and you did it well, better than Gene. The tongue out would have been a nice touch, however, I think.
I was working in that photo, Zep. I had to be professional.
I see you're on the phone. That's nice.
Professional.
With her headphones as well. You pro, you. And that's just taken from this morning. You never know what she's going to be wearing when she comes into work. And then, I love it, little Connell there getting his head crushed by Paul Stanley. That's a family photo. Now, is that Peter, Chris, and Ace Frehley?
No, that's Tommy Thayer and the other little guy.
Oh, Tommy, yeah,
I always feel bad for the drummer in Kiss because not only does he not get to wear the boots that give him 6 extra inches, he's also 6 inches shorter than the rest of the guys to begin with. So when they're walking down the hallway on the way to the stage, he's a full foot shorter than his bandmates every time.
You got to check this photo out on the KQ Facebook page along with our post. He should be on Gene Simmons' shoulders, I think, probably. But yeah, attention, Kiss Army. Kiss has retired. Share some Kiss memories. Of the more passionate you are about Kiss, the better. We want to hear from you here. 7:30, that's coming. 989-ROCK. 651-989-ROCK. Our talk and text line. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. That was Kiss Lick It Up. Woo! Woo, baby. Saturday night. End of the road tour came to a conclusion, a merciful conclusion, as Kiss had been touring since 2019. I mean, they announced this thing pre-COVID, obviously. 250 shows later, they have pulled the plug. They will still be on the road as avatars / holograms / kind of weird. But Kiss, if you wanted to see the human version of Kiss, it's done. After all those many years, a band that, unlike anything before or since, Kiss is actually done. On the Facebook page, we're mentioning the fact that this has happened, and we asked people for some Kiss memories. Two that this is the best one to me. Gary wrote, 1976, St. Paul Civic Center Theater. I worked at the Sheraton Ritz, Minneapolis, where they stayed. They came into the restaurant unpainted. I saw them before anyone knew what they looked like. After Gene and Paul left, I was a busboy. Gene had scribbled all over a paper placemat what, in hindsight, could only have been some kind of stage design. If only I'd known, I would have kept it, possibly had it signed. That would have been awesome to have.
Is there a little mini Stonehenge drawing?
That's what I was exactly picturing. And so we'll go come down off these elevators right here, and then the flames will come right here. Gee, this is where you spit the blood right here. Hello, Minneapolis. Have you seen our new stage design? I mean, look, I've been making fun of Kiss forever because how can you not? But they're just so you have to because, like I said, there was never anything like them before. There's never been anything like them since. Paul Stanley is one of the loveliest guys on the planet to ever talk. I've spoken with him several times. I've met him, and he's genuinely the nicest guy in the world. And Gene, they're just such classic, iconic figure. They're just who they are. They've always been that way. And all these years later, with millions of people around the entire planet never tiring of that shtick, they've pulled the plug. And I say hats off to the band Kiss. Our friend of the show, John Leinenkugel, part of that Leinenkugel family over there in Chippewa Falls, as they like to say. I like Chippewa, but they say Chippewa. John Leinenkugel, a man also known as Johnny Smoke, contrary to public opinion, never the fifth member of Kiss, but I believe John's on the horn right now. Good morning, John.
Good morning, KQ listeners. Good morning, Mr. Gorman. You know, there's nothing better than waking up on a Monday morning after a Green Bay Packer win against the reigning NFL MVP.
Clock's ticking.
Against one of the best teams, the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, we know who they are, bud.
Unfortunately, it came after a very disappointing loss by our Minnesota Vikings.
Sure.
Who can still recover.
Right.
The records are now tied 6-6.
Okay, honey, we're here to talk Kiss.
Now,
let's go.
You did not ring me up to talk about NFL football.
That's right.
We want to talk about, Steve, I got this for you. Listen.
Lay it on.
Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan. Demon, Starchild, Catman, Spaceman. Hottest band in the world.
That's a Kiss high Q we can all get behind. Well done. John, how many times have you seen Kiss?
The 100th time was Friday, September 1st in northern Wisconsin in the middle of a dirt parking lot.
100?
A dirt racetrack, Crandon, Wisconsin, and it was absolutely awful. people always ask me what has been my best Kiss concert, and it's really hard to say. But I can tell you one of the worst Kiss concerts was not the Met Center in 1983 when Wendy O. Williams and the Plasmatics opened up for them.
Strong.
But it happened to be this past Friday.
Wow.
Not this past Friday, but this past September.
Right.
September 1st, Friday, September 1st in Crandon, Wisconsin. Thank God that was not the last Kiss for me. The last Kiss came 1 week ago while I was listening to the KQ Morning Show, driving down to Chicago, Illinois to see Kiss for the 101st time.
Man.
And it was the last.
That's pretty great. You're 101st Screaming Eagle yourself right there. I like that. So 101 shows. How many unmasked shows? How many makeup-free gigs would you say there were?
Over 80.
Wait, without makeup?
Oh, wait, sorry. I misunderstood the question.
Okay, so over 80 with makeup, but you saw them maybe 20 times without the makeup.
Yeah.
Wow. And did you were those as cool? I mean, it couldn't have been the same vibe, could it?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, it was a different band, and here I can sum it up just like this: the '80s were a tough decade, and you know what? We as human beings all have tough decades.
Yes, we do, John. As humans, as artists, as rock stars, it can be tough. Okay, so if I'm going to say to you, John Leinenkugel, lifelong Kiss fanatic, at this point, I got to say a 4-star general in the Army. You got one Kiss album on that desert island, just one. Which one is it?
I thought we did this when I was.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Just dial it back up. Tell me it's songs from the Elder. Come on.
I'm sure that we did because Zepp goes, oh, I knew he was going to say that. And I don't know.
Just answer it. Answer it, honey. Answer it.
It has to be the quintessential album from 1976.
There you go.
Destroyer.
There you go. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
I like that one. So,
and
John.
You know what?
Yes, sir.
You go back and you look at the set list. The majority of the songs of the set list come from that album.
John, you watched the pay-per-view Saturday night, correct? The final show ever.
I did, and I could not watch that.
Of course.
And it was a good way to enjoy a pizza that I had flown in from New York City.
As one does.
Right, put in the refrigerator, brought it back out.
From Sbarro.
And I went into my lower level and had the big screen on and had the surround sound on the home theater. And I took in the pay-per-view. It was only $40, thank God. They didn't rape the fans.
You probably paid more to have that pizza brought in from Sbarro Terminal 3 at LaGuardia.
It was a tank of fuel, and it was kind of fun. It was a treat, and it allowed me to have a great Saturday night. So I couldn't afford to be in Manhattan. I couldn't afford to be at Madison Square Garden, but I could afford the $40 to enjoy them one more time on the big screen in my own home.
I'm glad they gave you that opportunity. Johnny Smoke, as he was known back in his radio days, John Leinenkugel. These days, thank you for calling in. I thought of you Saturday. I know it was a big day for you, and all these years, never tiring of Kiss. We were talking about that. I lost touch with Kiss. I thought the whole thing was kind of silly until I went. I didn't see them until 2009, and the first time I saw them, it hit me because I saw parents and kids and everybody dressed up, and it was just such a celebration, and it was just fun and cool. And I just thought, like, oh man, I missed a lot of. I overthought this whole thing. Good catchy songs and a hell of a show, and you were there for 101 of those. So real quick, John. Hey, sorry, buddy. I gotta cut you loose, but I want to know one question. What is the band you've seen the second most times?
Bagman. Steve Gorman, Bagman.
So you saw us once, and so that's it.
Incredible jam band, and Luther Dickinson is out of this world, kind of like Tommy Thayer and Ace Frehley.
Kinda, sure. All right, John, it's always a pleasure, brother. Thank you for the call.
Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. It's going to be close to 50 degrees this week. Go out, buy some Leinenkugels, fire up the barbecues, and enjoy your very first full week of December. And always listen to 92.5, the KQ Morning
Listen to
Show.
him. Johnny Smoke in the house.
Yeah, buddy.
Gotta like that.
We love beer.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. 101 shows. Okay, the band, Candace, you've seen more than any other is what band?
Stevie Nicks, I guess. With Fleetwood and Stevie alone, I've seen them the most, or her the most. I should
How
say.
many? Give me a ballpark. How many times?
8, maybe.
8. Tony,
8 to 10.
artist you've seen the most times live.
Probably fine local band, The Suburbs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, just back to the well repeatedly. Zep, what is it for you?
Got to be a toss-up between ZZ Top and Tom Petty, I guess.
Really?
A dozen times, I suppose, each.
I thought. Well, didn't you tell me once? Didn't you like follow the Jayhawks on tour for? Maybe that. I was in my mind. It was like for weeks and weeks and weeks, but I guess it wasn't quite.
Well,
that.
I did for Hollywood Town Hall for a couple of months, just their Minnesota tour. You know,
gotcha.
I had a job that tethered me to Minnesota. So, but it was. I remember it was in the fall because I was on a motorcycle. It's all I had, and it was in October, and then kind of lurched into November. There, it was chilly. It was chilly riding around following them. But yeah, you know what? I've probably seen the Jayhawks 20 or 30 times now that I think about it.
Yeah.
There's probably a bunch of local bands or Minnesota bands. Jayhawks are a national band, but I mean, yeah, a bunch of Minnesota bands I've probably seen 20 or 30 times. Yeah.
Hey, that reminds me. I got a gig with the Jayhawks a week from Saturday.
Right.
Yeah, you do.
Well, I'm actually playing in the opening band, Golden Smog, made up of several members of the Jayhawks, Soul Asylum, Run Westy Run. You know, local, regional big shots. Golden Smog. Actually, there were big shots everywhere, but I mean, they hail from these parts. I'm thrilled. I'm going to jump up and pretend I know all these songs. It's going to be great.
That is terrific.
And then the Jayhawks. I've seen the Jayhawks a million times too. It's weird because people have asked me, what band have you seen more than any other? And my first thought is, well, I mean, I was on the road touring with bands. So like I watched, AC/DC a bunch of times and the Stones and different bands you'd open for. I'd go watch them every night. I don't think that counts. But like going as a fan, just going and, buying the ticket and going to see. I really don't know what the answer is. I think it's REM, and that dates me because that's all in the 80s. I don't think I ever saw them in the 90s, but I saw them in the 80s as much as humanly possible for a band that anybody would know of. There were local bands I saw more that, from Nashville, from Atlanta, from different places, but yeah, I guess we've all got those got those lists. That's how that goes.
Yeah.
Hey, if you are listening right now and have to go, don't worry. The rest of the show, you can pick up with it later. You can catch up with the KQ Morning Show podcast. How about that? We got a podcast, ladies and gentlemen. In-depth interviews like the scintillating haiku we just heard from Johnny Smoke. We're going to talk with Robert Smith at 9 o'clock about the NFL season right now and the Vikings, what they have to do for the rest of this week to get ready for Sunday's game. Anywhere you get podcasts, anytime you want, check us out. That podcast is brought to you by our good friends at Candace Wheeler.
Devani's Pizza and Hot Hoagies.
That's right. Every morning I say it, and every morning I think, I'm ready for some Devani's now. Man.
Well, right now we're ready for a couple of callers on the KQ92 Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. We're playing Dead or Not Dead. For your tickets to Peter Frampton, Monday, April 1st at the State Theater. No Foolin', prize provided by Jam Productions. Our runner-up today, a 4-pack of tickets to the Glow Holiday Festival. Open select dates now through New Year's Eve at CHS Field. Prize provided by Glow Holiday Festival. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck and hang tight.
Is that right?
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Monday, December the 4th. Good morning. Eagles already gone. Oh, if only. They ain't gone. They played the XL Energy Center last month a couple nights. They're going to be back. Make no mistake. They've already said, yeah, we're going to extend this tour probably into 2025 because we're going to tour as long as the demand is there. That demand's not going away anytime soon. When the Eagles announced this farewell tour, it's called the Long Goodbye Tour. Trust me, long is all caps. That tour will continue I mean, if they say we're going at least into 25, I'd say 28 is a safe bet. As long as they're all still around, you can still see the Eagles for sure. You cannot see Kiss anymore. Kiss has pulled the plug on live performances. Apparently, there's going to be a hologram version, an avatar version of Kiss that will make the rounds forever, apparently. But Kiss pulled the plug Saturday night in Madison Square Garden after really 50-plus years of an incredible career. The weirdest thing about Kiss to me is that it took so long to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, if you know how the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame works, it's a bunch of hoity-toities, and they're talking about, artistic integrity and blah, 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 blah. But it's called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, not the Rock and Roll Hall of Hip. And what band's been more famous than Kiss since they hit? I mean, I just remember the first time I ever saw the band Kiss, a photo of Kiss. I was probably 7 and I went, or 8. And I was like, what is that? I mean, right away. It's like, I would have never forgotten that. If they'd made one record, I would remember it to this day. As famous a band as there's ever been.
I remember the call out on the Kiss Alive album. How many of you like the taste of vodka and orange juice? That was our credo for a long time.
I didn't see Kiss until 2009. I had tickets to see them in the late 70s in Evansville, Indiana. I shouldn't say I had tickets. I had a ticket offered to me to go. I had one friend in high school, and he and his older sister went to all the concerts within like a 4-hour, circle around Hopkinsville, Kentucky. They offered me a ticket to see The Who. I couldn't go. That was the night of the Cincinnati Stampede. They were in that scrum. I would have been right in the mix of that, so I was glad to have missed that one. A bunch of kids lost their lives that night. They also offered me tickets to see Kiss in Evansville, Indiana, and that was a famous show, not because of what happened outside the arena, but during the gig, and you can look this up, a light guy, one of their lighting dudes, spotlight guy right over Paul Stanley, wasn't roped in, and he fell out of the truss over the stage, and he fell and landed on stage right at Paul Stanley's feet.
Oh, weird.
Wow.
Yeah, right in between songs. Paul's talking, and all of a sudden this guy just falls like 25 feet, like, wow, poof, and bounced on the floor, and then and I was not there. I should have been there. I always regretted not seeing it because I wanted to see that. Mm-hmm. My friend Mike said, he goes, I mean, that guy, like, he was laying there, like, you could tell he probably broke his back or something, but there was these roadies picked him up, like, within 2 seconds. He was gone. And Paul Stanley on stage said, looks like somebody had a little too much cold gin. Oh, and they went into cold gin.
Used it.
That, my friend, is a professional.
Yeah.
How great is that? And I missed it. I was so devastated. I was like, man, I could have seen the guy fall. I could have heard them go into cold gin right out of it. But Kiss pulled the plug. Another artist a few years ago said he was done touring. He had some health issues and then apparently has had a bit of a reprieve. His health has come back, and he has said, what was I talking about? I'm back on the road, and that is the great Peter Frampton. Peter Frampton is touring. He's calling this the Not Ever Say Never tour, something like that. He's on the road next spring. And if you've never seen Peter Frampton, or if you have, you know this. If you've never seen him, you really got to go. Zepp, you said you saw him last week. You went in thinking, yeah, whatever, it's Frampton. He's mind-blowingly great.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. I mean, I didn't even realize. I mean, obviously, he was a guitar player, he was a guitarist, that sort of thing, and he was a teen idol back in his day with Frampton Comes Alive, instant teen idol. But yeah, I just didn't realize, how broad of a musician he was, just how good he was, and of course, just a showman. Yeah, it was a great show. I'd see him anytime, anywhere again.
Played in, of course, started the band Humble Pie with Steve Marriott when he was still, I think, like 18 or 19. And then hanging around London as a very young man, played on George Harrison's All Things Must Pass album, not to mention a bunch of other studio appearances. And then, of course, goes solo from Humble Pie, puts out 3 albums. They all do okay. And then he puts out a live album that just explodes all over the universe. And he's just been a giant guy ever since. Anyway, Peter Frampton, why are we talking about him? Because he's playing the State Theater Monday, April the 1st. And I plan to be there. I imagine some of my cohorts here will also like to see that show. But here's the most important thing. You can see that show. We're going to give away a couple tickets right now. And we've got a couple callers ready to roll. Today's game to win these tickets is, Mr. Tony?
We're going to play this uplifting game.
The KQ Morning Show presents
Dead or not?
Dead. Dead or not? Dead.
Dead or not? Dead.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, we think of at stake here Frampton Ticks, so we think of Frampton comes alive, and then we think, well, what if he wasn't? Hence, dead or not dead. So we're going to give you a name, and you just simply say, are they alive or not? Dead or not dead?
I like it. Nice and simple. Just a straight fastball right down the middle. Fair enough. All right, Candace, who's contestant number 1?
Teresa from Wyoming.
Teresa, good morning.
Good morning.
How you feeling? Are you a Peter Frampton fan?
Yes, for sure.
All right. Well, excellent. So we're going to play a little game called Dead or Not Dead, and I wish you the best.
Thanks.
All the best to you. Okay, your first one. One of the monsters of golf and namesake of a refreshing summer drink, Arnold Palmer, dead or not dead?
Not dead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Arnie is not with us. Back in 2016 at age 87.
I literally, as per usual, I would have said, God, it's got to be at least 3 years or 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Teresa, let's get this horse turned around.
Teresa, number 2, Saturday Night Live cast member known for spot-on impressions and musical characters, left to join the cast of the sitcom Designing Women, Jan Hooks.
Ooh. Not dead.
I'm sorry, Jan has joined the choir invisible.
I feel the glow happening.
Boy, she was great.
Yeah, she was. 2014.
Super unsung SNL cast member. Just as good as it got.
Remember the Sweeney sisters?
Tremendous.
She was great. And in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, she was the tour guide.
Oh, yeah.
Talked about an ancient Indian burial mound.
There's no basement in the Alamo. Tremendous.
Teresa, number 3, actress. Oops, I'm sorry. Go ahead, hon.
Nope, that's good. You're good. I'm ready to roll.
Okay. Actress who played pivotal roles such as Connie Corleone in the Godfather trilogy and Mousy Adrian in the Rocky series, Talia Shire.
Not dead.
Correct. She is alive and kicking.
Talia Shire, I mean, just off the top of my head, not a ton of movies, but just that. The Godfathers and the Rockies. Nice run.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't act every day, but when I do, it's in a giant blockbuster.
True.
I only act in iconic film series. All right, Teresa, you're back on track here. Let's keep it going.
Teresa,
all right, here we go.
2 more for you. Iconic singer and presence, often called the Queen of Rock and Roll, music legend Tina Turner, dead or not dead?
Ooh. Not dead.
I'm sorry.
Teresa. Yes. Not that long ago.
And that's why I messed it up.
Yeah. Earlier this year, in fact.
Darn it.
Yeah. Here's your last one, huh? Actor and TV host known for playing Carlton on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and his hosting duties on Dancing with the Stars and America's Funniest Videos, Alfonso Ribeiro.
He's not dead.
Correct. He is alive.
Teresa coming in strong on Ribeiro. All right. 2 for 5, Teresa. Empires have been built on shakier foundations, so all is not lost. Sit tight. We're going to go to contestant number 2. Candace, who is contestant number 2?
We have Sam from Red Wing.
Sam, good morning.
Good morning. How are we doing today?
All is great, sir. Are you a Peter Frampton fan?
Yeah.
Well, you have come to the right place. We're going to play Dead or Not Dead. I wish you the best of luck, sir.
He says thank you. Sam the Man, here's your first one. Known as the owner of Arnold's on Happy Days and Mr. Miyagi in the Karate Kid films Pet Morita, dead or not dead?
Dead.
Correct.
Damn.
He left us in 2005.
Whoa, that long ago, huh?
Yeah, how about that? Number 2, she of the powerful rock voice, 5-foot-tall dynamo in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Pat Benatar.
Alive.
Yes, she is.
Alive.
Alive.
So. She's there. She's not dead.
Number 3, mathematician and domestic terrorist, a.k.a. the Unabomber, sentenced to prison, good old Ted Kaczynski.
Dead.
Correct. He joined the Black Parade.
Sammy.
In June.
Coming out swinging 3 for 3.
2 more. Known for playing Al Bundy in Married with Children, Jay Pritchett on Modern Family, and for animation voice work, Mr. Ed O'Neill.
Not dead.
Oh,
wait, he is alive.
Sorry. Wait, hold
Sorry,
on a minute.
Ed.
I was like, wow, I didn't know that. Okay, he is alive.
I think I just gave Ed a heart attack right now.
I think so.
And your last one, brother of musician Michael Penn and actor Sean Penn. Among other roles, he played Willard, best buddy of Ren McCormick in Footloose, and nice guy Eddie in Reservoir Dogs. Actor Chris Penn, dead or not dead?
Oh, not dead.
He is dead.
He is sadly dead. Sam, your chances to see Peter Frampton very much alive, sir. You went 4 for 5, which means you have won the tickets. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you.
You got it. Teresa, you are not leaving empty-handed. We've got a 4-pack of tickets to the Glow Holiday Festival. Open select dates now through New Year's Eve at CHS Field. Congrats, and thanks for playing, Teresa.
All right. Thanks, guys.
You
Have a
got
good
it.
day.
Wow, that's kind of a fun, creepy game.
This is kind of creepy, kind of dark. I don't know. Makes me uncomfortable.
Does it?
Makes me sad.
Yeah, that's really what it does. It's just like
because people die.
Yes.
No. Oh, I thought you meant because you wanted that guy from. You wanted Al Bundy dead, but he wasn't. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gosh,
What if he dies today? Literally, what if that actor dies today? Wouldn't that be weird? That would be weird. Well, this morning we've been talking about the unquestioned greatest rock band of all time, calling it quits. Kiss, no doubt, the greatest ever.
Okay.
Will, however, live on in hologram form. We're asking you to share your Kiss memories on the KQ Facebook page this morning. Maybe call or text Steven, 651-989-ROCK, and hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. In about 30 minutes at 9 o'clock, Robert Smith is going to phone in, as he does every Monday at this time. The Vikings icon. We'll get some Vikings chatter out of Robert, see what he thinks looking ahead after their bye, but also some general NFL questions. We got to talk about this Green Bay Packers team, whether we want to or not. They are on their way to legitimacy, as they say. Big win last night over the Chiefs. Man, who saw that one coming? Patrick Mahomes gave an interview last week. He was so excited. First time ever playing Lambeau Field. He talked about growing up, you see it on TV, the hallowed halls, blah, blah, blah. And he said, I'm really excited to finally play there for the first time. And he's leaving with an L, boy. That's a big win for that Packers team.
He didn't look good either.
What's that?
He didn't look good.
No,
Mahomes didn't.
They're beat up, man. The Chiefs are not the Chiefs of last year by any measure.
I'll tell you who looked great yesterday afternoon in that game. Or last night, rather. The refs looked phenomenal.
Wow.
They're from Grantsburg, Wisconsin, I think. Couple of... Hummer, did you get a couple of guys that head over to Lambeau and ref that game last night? Did they knock out the real refs and make some of those calls down the stretch? Hey, listen, big win for the Pack, and I think it just makes it more interesting for the Vikings coming down to the last 5 games, the last 3 being Lions, Packers, Lions, the NFC North starting to tighten up. Well, I mean, the Lions still rule the roost for now, but that could get set. The North could just get dumped on its head coming down in the last 3 weeks of the season. Cool.
It's definitely going to be, as it always is, the final month of the NFL that's about as good as sports gets, because every year a couple of narratives get completely destroyed, and there's always I can't believe this team, I didn't see him coming. So right now that could be the Packers this year.
They've got the Giants, the Bucks, the Panthers. And then they get to the Vikings. And
that's
the
Packers' schedule?
That's the Packers' schedule. They got the Giants. God. They go to New York. Buccaneers at home. And then they go to Carolina to play the Panthers. And then the Vikes. And then wrap it up with the Bears.
They're winning 4 out of those 5, if not all 5.
And they're coming to town. The Bears are headed there. So, and that's a pretty fierce rivalry, of course, as well. So, I mean, it's the NFC North. Who knew? Coming down the stretch here. Very entertaining.
That's how it plays. The band Kiss came down to their stretch. Saturday night, they finished their touring career end of the road tour, and they mean it this time. They're done. Madison Square Garden was the final show for Kiss, and we talked with a Kiss fan, our buddy John Leinenkugel from over there in Chippewa Falls, called about an hour ago, and now, Candace, we have another caller who wanted to share some Kiss thoughts. Is that true?
Yeah, Miss Tammy Boots.
Tammy Boots.
Johnny Rocket, Tammy Boots.
Tammy
Hi
Boots.
there.
This woman's made for talking.
That's right. These boots are made for walking.
What's happening?
Well, I'm calling to share my favorite Kiss memory.
I love it.
I've only been to 2 of the farewell tours. And the first farewell tour, my best friend and I had our makeup on as Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons, full face makeup, and we went to go get a beer, and they said, well, we have to be able to see your face to take your ID.
Oh, no way.
So we couldn't get beer.
What underage kid is sneaking into a Kiss show? Yeah.
So the next farewell tour, we chose to each only do half the face in the makeup, and then we were able to get beer.
So which half did you go with?
Well, I had to have the star side because I'm Paul Stanley.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then she did the Gene Simmons. And it was great, too, because when we were in the car, my Paul Stanley side was facing the window, and her Gene Simmons side was facing the window. But then when we would look at each other, we could see our actual faces, and it was hysterical. We were cracking up the whole time.
That's pretty great. So how many times how many times did you see Kiss all in?
3.
3 times. Okay, and what was the first time? What year?
The first time was 88. So I was only 19.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get beer yet, so it didn't matter.
So in 1988, I mean, it's funny to think about this, but in 1988, if you had told me, hey, I got Kiss tickets, I'd be like, God, they're still around. They've been around for so long. That was 15 years in.
It's so hilarious. I started loving them when I was about 10.
Mm-hmm. Well, and so when was the last time when you had half the face painted? How long ago was that?
Oh my gosh! I think I was 24. We're going 31 years ago.
Oh my gosh! Right on. But those were all good nights, huh?
All good nights, rocking out.
Yeah, right on. Woo! Well, I appreciate the call, and thanks for sharing those memories with us, Tammy Boots. I love that name.
Love you, Tammy.
Thanks so much.
See ya.
You guys have a great day.
You too. We'll see you. So Kiss is, they're done. Paul and Gene can go back to, well, Gene left L.A. Paul still lives in Los Angeles, and he's going to be looking for some way to fill his time. Maybe he'll take a dinner reservation at a new place called Feud. It's not like feud, like blood feud, like Hatfields and McCoy's feud. He might go to a restaurant called Feud, F-U-D-E. The U has that. What's the German double dot?
The umlaut.
Umlaut.
Yeah.
Food with an umlaut. It's
that's why I'm not going right there.
Yeah, it's this restaurant. It's called a pop-up. It's a brainchild of a performance artist who also is a chef. Her name is Charlie Ann Max, and basically, Feud is a portmanteau. It's a combination food and nude. And that's right. That's right. You get a reservation. You walk into the restaurant. You disrobe entirely, and you sit in a room full of nude people and eat the meal.
So they have an extensive coat check.
There's a lot of things I would think twice about doing in the nude, and just dining is one of them.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I did on the couch the other night eat fairly nude, mostly nude, from the waist down anyway.
That's just a guy at home on his own, though. I'm talking.
Exactly. Out in public? No, first of all, to quote my dad, who's done it in public, eating nude, the crumbs. You never think about the crumbs, but they get in all those hard-to-reach places, and
sure.
They're going to be fidgeting and scratching, and it's not going to look very attractive. I mean, maybe I would go to one of those strip club buffets and watch people in the nude while I eat, but I don't understand the attraction. Just to feel, I suppose that's that whole nudity thing, just to feel free doing things you don't normally do. Natural.
There's been a similar pop-up, if you will, New York, San Francisco. This one's in L.A. This is currently happening at a private house in the San Fernando Valley, which, of course, if you've seen Boogie Nights, you know what's normally going on out in the valley. Guests arrive. As I said, they strip completely naked. There's a breathwork class followed by a plant-based meal. If I'm eating in the nude, I need blood. I need red meat. I need to go full cave. I mean, this is like old school.
Yeah.
Hunters and gatherers, hunting for my supper vibe. I would want there to be, spear play, some sort of breath work. Screw that. Give me a bow and arrow.
Or no utensils.
I got my bits dangling. I feel like there should be wild animals at play.
Yeah, make some grunting noises, that sort of thing. You wouldn't order anything flambe, would you, at the table?
Oh, God, no.
How about fondue?
Fondue would be tricky. You're right. Careful with the hot stuff.
There is
you gotta be careful.
There's a long application process. You have to send in a photo. There's a safety guide to ensure comfort. A writer for the LA Times went recently, and she wrote, the meal quickly turned into a group therapy session.
Oh, geez.
No surprise there.
What about some fun?
I'd look around and go, so what brings you here? Well, when I was like 11,
My dad didn't hug me.
Diners discuss their fears, doubts, and struggles. Oh boy. Okay, you know what? Never mind.
Imagine having a serious talk while trying to eat naked with someone else about, just what's not going right. And you're like, come on, let's have some fun. Although, now that I think about it, and I didn't end up going because I had the freaking flu, and I was right there in Minneapolis. One of those naked sushi where they bring the lady out and they put, and they had the dude too.
Oh boy.
Right? And they put sushi all over their bodies, and you eat the sushi off the body.
Okay.
I was real into that. That was my... just young, drinking, sleeping with anything, anybody, anywhere time kind of deal. So I was all in on that. I suppose it's just where you're at in your life. But yeah, that's so. Maybe there is a place for nudity, but not nudity therapy eating.
I eat naked all the time. But the problem is, like, cooking naked is a no-no. Because I've burned my chest once trying to make a steak. Topless, which is really stupid.
Sizzly.
Was this now? I hope you don't mind my asking, Candace. Was this an intentional let's grill out topless, or did it just one of those things where it just happened that way?
No, I just enjoy if I'm home alone and it's my house, whatever. I don't need to wear clothes.
No, I gotcha. So you were by yourself and you were just feeling it. You're probably I'm picturing a tumbler of vodka on ice and and a steak and just one thing leads to another and
oopsie.
You're looking for the Neosporin.
On your clothes, yeah. I mean, right.
Oh, well, these things happen. I think ultimately, though, again, I'm going to go back to the fact that if I'm eating in the nude in public, having it and then going basically into my fears and desires, I don't want to follow that up with, would you pass some more of the caramelized carrots? No, give me a steak. Give me a pork chop or something, man. I mean,
big turkey leg.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Give me a turkey leg and a goblet of wine. let me go all full Henry VIII weirdo on you before I sentence you to death. Don't give me that whole. Could I get some of those Brussels sprouts again? That'd be great. Thanks.
Huzzah.
Man, I tell you what. Here's something, and I'm curious what everyone's thoughts are. But Candace, I'll start with you. The average woman is expecting $215 worth of Christmas gifts this year. That's according to one of these many things. Yeah. Average guy says he's planning on spending about $70, but women are thinking it's more like $215. These are women who are in relationships, obviously, expecting one guy to break the bank. Would you ever in your mind have an expectation of what you think Christmas should bring you from a relationship?
No. I mean, collectively, I'd like a lot of, that amount of money from a bunch of different people, but I would never expect my one person to spend that much. That's crazy.
What if he just gave it to you in cash? I mean, seriously, if it would just be like, I heard on the KQ Morning Show, $215 is what women are expecting. Here it is in an envelope, or is that not... sexy enough.
So I like to be cooked for or taken out to a nice meal, and then maybe just something little, something just a little sentimental, like a little sentimental gift would be nice.
So you would like for someone to make, say, a Chateaubriand for two and pour a nice glass of red wine and then hand you an Ozzy pendant.
Yeah, oh my God, that sounds so perfect.
Keychain.
That checks out. I got you a locket, and you open it up, and on one side's a picture of Ozzy, and on the other, in that heart, is a picture of Gigi.
Oh, Gigi and Ozzy forever.
Wouldn't that just make your heart melt?
Yeah.
See, I'm giving you the key to Candace right here. You got to take notes. Specific gifts women say they don't want. Number one, socks.
What?
Oh, I love socks.
Yeah, exactly. Socks are great.
I gave socks once with my likeness on it. There's pictures of me all over.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There have been some Chauncey Gorman socks delivered under the tree in the Gorman house over the past. Bath salts. Apparently, that's a no-no.
Nah.
Yeah,
we don't smoke those anymore.
Chocolate?
Yeah.
Chocolate's always good.
Sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be good
generally
stuff,
speaking, this also says gift cards are kitchen products. Okay, well, I get that. If I'm going to hand... hi, Merry Christmas, babe. Here's some janitor in a drum. Remember that old cleaner?
Janitor in a drum.
That was literally a brand name. Janitor in a drum.
Yes.
There was also, or just literally like, hey, baby, here's some Mr. Clean. Get to work. That would be a weird one.
There's some rubber gloves.
She's fantasizing about Mr. Clean.
Yeah, no kidding. That's why you got to watch out for those things, man. You always hear about a woman in the dryer by herself. That's a stretch. I apologize.
Jeez Louise.
Give her the Mr. Clean, and then you could just take the week off.
How do you feel about like gifts that somebody made themselves? People are always like, "Yeah, I want something that you made yourself, something creative."
Oh, well,
what's your real reaction to that?
If making myself, if that means like here's a wadded up piece of paper, I can make those pretty well.
I mean,
I've known how to make one. There's one paper airplane that I know how to fold and make, and it will fly. I've been doing it literally since I was 7. I've never changed it. I know how to make that.
Is it a pointy tip or does it have the squared off tip?
Pointy tip.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to possibly. I don't make anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
I can make the time fly by telling you some stupid stories you've already heard a million times. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
The hell.
I mean, have you had Tony? Have you done that? Have you made anything? You seem crafty, kind of.
Well, yeah, I'm going to make you a little a yarn beanie this year. I know how much you would enjoyed that. No, I mean, how do you feel about receiving that, though? Do you have the great?
Yeah,
I mean, the stuff that they make, unless it's your little kid, it's. I mean, you don't use it, right? It's just something you got to stick somewhere, and then every time they come over, you have to pretend like you use. I guess it depends on what it is. Make me a candle.
I
don't know.
I have a friend who years ago was, young men in your 20s getting towards 30, and then all of a sudden one year this guy just started giving great Christmas gifts, sort of. But you could tell there was a lot of thought put into it, but then at some point I realized all these gifts they're things that he's really into. Like he already has it.
Oh. Yeah.
Like, here, I got you this series of Taoist philosophy books. I'm like, what about me? You're either saying clearly I need this because I'm a mess, or I indicated this was interesting to me. And I mean, it is kind of interesting, but there were just times that I would notice everybody he'd give presents to, it was always like, oh, wow, thanks. Like that's kind of interesting and neat, but really this? Where did this come from?
Got a 2-for-1, a BOGO somewhere.
I think that must have been what it was. Yeah, there was he gave a crossbow once to another friend. I was like, a crossbow?
Wait, that's
the guy who never suggested any. But I mean, it's like, give it to me. It's the same thing. What am I going to do with it?
Right, exactly.
Other than make some serious accidents will happen. I could make a lifelong mistake.
Yeah, that's one of those where you're like, oh, no way, a crossbow. You'd go outside, you'd shoot it and go, okay, now I have a crossbow. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I think you might be able to do some hunting with those. I would say for the $215 that generally, according to the survey, women are expecting to have spent on them. Fellas, one word for you, itemize.
Yeah.
Gas to and from, time. Your time is worth some money. It all adds up.
Is if you would.
I don't know. I'm trying to help out here a little bit. I don't know.
Could be. Speaking of time, you can stream 92KQRS on your phone anytime you want, and especially anywhere you go. Search 92KQRS at the App Store, and then you are good to go. Right there on your phone, you can listen anytime. Or, you know what? If you already have a smart speaker, just simply say, hey, play 92KQRS. It's just that easy.
All right, we're going to get back to the Vikes. Like I said, the NFC North really just starting to get super exciting here down the stretch after a pretty slow start for everyone except for the Lions. But here we go with the last 5 games for the Vikings. They're back in action this weekend, headed off to Las Vegas. Former Vikings great Robert Smith will join us here at 9 o'clock. We're talking Vikes. We're talking play. Who the hell is going to be the quarterback? Will Justin Jefferson be back this weekend? Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, December the 4th. And I need you to listen up because this is important. Chris Jericho's Rock and Wrestling Rager at Sea is back for its 5th installment. The 5 Alive. We're sending one winner and a guest on a sold-out voyage. You will sail from Miami to Cozumel on the Norwegian Pearl for a 4-day adventure combining the best rock and roll, wrestling, comedy, live podcasts, paranormal explorations, and all-around outrageous moments, all in the middle of the ocean. Text the national keyword SEA, S-E-A, to 95819 right now to enter for a chance to win. Good luck to you. And with that, Robert Smith joins us on the KQ Morning Show, sponsored as always by Polar Tool and Supply, your trusted name for power tools and fasteners. Visit polartool.us. Robert, have you ever been on a cruise?
I've been on a number of cruises, but none with any paranormal experiences.
Okay, well, see, that's where I was going to go. I didn't know if that was if the ocean's more, more of a open zone for paranormal. But I guess that's just that one cruise right there. So you're a cruise guy, then? You dig it?
I'm trying to think now. Which is dangerous. I don't think I've never gone on a cruise that I've paid for though. Like it was always so Ohio State does a charity cruise for cancer.
Gotcha. Okay.
Research, and I've gone on that, but I've never taken a cruise by myself.
Okay.
That I've just paid for.
Right. Right.
But I I've heard about the one up to Alaska, which is one that I might take.
That I would dig that more than the Caribbean. If I'm going to be seasick, I'd rather not be hot. That's just me.
And a parka.
Yeah.
Well, the schedule, the schedule can be kind of a pain too. You've only got so much time in certain stops, but you do get to a lot of different places. So.
Yeah, that sounds good. And also, I don't know if you're aware of this, but the band Kiss wrapped up their touring career, final show ever Saturday night. Were you ever, even for 1 minute, a fan of Kiss?
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
I mean, come on. 19, a kid that was born in 72.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I remember what was the Phantom of the
Phantom at the park,
yeah, all that stuff, and I was big time Kiss for a while.
Did you ever see him?
A year? No, I never did.
Yeah,
did you see him live?
I saw, but not until 2009. Like I took my 9-year-old to see them.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was great, and seeing it kind of through his eyes, it really did. It was awesome. The multi-generational dressed up in Kiss costumes. It was really something pretty special. So I figured along the way there had to be, because everybody is a brief member of the Kiss Army. Everybody I know, everyone's got that hot minute where there's nothing cooler in the world than a guy breathing fire. Robert Smith,
or spitting up blood.
Yeah, well, of course, yeah. That's quite the back-to-back shtick, for a bassist. A lot of bass players, well, they just play bass. Gene, no, I'm going to spit fire, spit blood, do the whole thing.
Yeah, I read this morning that Paul Stanley, the first rocker to ever zip line to the stage.
Really?
So that was a Kiss thing too. Oh yeah, I remember him zip lining. He'd come zip lining back from the crowd somewhere, and and that whole thing, yeah.
Pretty impressive. All right, let's talk football for a minute here, Robert. I'm looking at the NFC North standings. The Vikings and the Packers, both 6-6, but right now it feels like teams on very different trajectories. Did you check out the Packers game last night?
Boy, I certainly did. It was impressive, man. And I'm going to be calling their game against the Panthers. Obviously, the Panthers are in kind of another season of if you will, in the depths. But we're going to be calling that game on Christmas Eve. But, yeah, man, it's impressive. You know, those young receivers and Jordan Love, they're kind of growing up together, right? So it's definitely been impressive. But, you know, we're going to have to see kind of what the Vikings are going to look like. That's what I'm excited, you know, after this bye week with Justin Jefferson probably coming back and what the decision is going to be. You know, is it going to be Josh? Is it going to be Jaron? Is it going to be Nick? You know, kind of what are they actually going to do?
I think it's got to have been just for everybody in that organization, like the central nervous system has to have had a good, positive, healthy reset to finally, since Josh Dobbs got here, it's not like there's been a minute to breathe and take account into anything. I mean, is that just a fan talking, or is that probably how you feel it is behind the scenes for the coaching staff especially?
I think it's definitely how it is behind the scenes because you're so caught up in trying to get your quarterback up to speed, ready to play, and you're not really evaluating other parts of your offense. I mean, you're always doing those kind of things continuously to a degree, but I think really breaking things down, what are you going to do? How different will it be? I mean, number one receivers are number one receivers for a reason. And getting Justin Jefferson back is going to make a huge difference. How much of a difference? You know, how much do you emphasize other points of your offense? What else needs to be changed? You know, you just don't have time to do that during a season, during normal weeks. But when you get a bye week, you can really do more of that self-scouting and dig a little bit deeper into what's worked and why you might want to change something.
Yeah, I mentioned the Vikings still 6-6. I mean, they had that horrible start to the season, and then the last 2 weeks, games that you could easily say they could have, if not should have won, but still right here in the thick of it. And as is always the case in this damn league of yours, the last month, the narratives that come out of nowhere or the narratives that have been in place that get blown up, there's really nothing like the last 4 or 5 weeks of the NFL in sports that I can think of.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's why the NFL is just so exciting, right? Teams can look so different from week to week. You know, even from half to half. You know, it's just the reality of the game. But, you know, especially when you get young quarterbacks, you get injuries, everything that combines throughout the NFL season, it just makes it must-see TV.
Yeah, no, it really is. Speaking of young quarterbacks, back to the Packers, who looked great last night in that win over the Chiefs, like you said. Jordan Love, I mean, there's a lot to be said for holding a clipboard and just taking it all in, I guess. Yet again, we're seeing a quarterback who didn't get thrust into the starting position right away, and it took him a few weeks to get his feet, you know, underneath him, but the sea legs, I guess. But, I mean, he really looks like he's figuring it out.
Yeah, he really does. And, you know, I thought it was interesting listening to the broadcast last night. You know, I think Collinsworth said it, you know, in the interview. He's like, I've got 1,000 reps of mistakes, though, just from this season to kind of build off of. And that's why, you know, evaluating quarterbacks early in their careers, with especially ones that don't have a lot of starts under their belt, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. It takes time to develop. Now, you get rare outliers like what you see with C.J. Stroud and kind of what he's done with the Texans, but for the most part, young quarterbacks are going to make mistakes. I mean, Peyton Manning threw 28 interceptions his first year. It's crazy. And now, granted, I think, and this was crazy. I didn't look into this until this year, but I think for his first 6 years, I think he threw at least like 15 or 16 interceptions every year. But you know, some guys, you know, want to test a little bit more than others. But it's wild. You know, early in a quarterback's career, they can look wildly different from start 1 to even start 6 or 7.
Now, what about the Raiders coming up this Sunday? Now, Josh McDaniels was blown out a few weeks ago, but I know nothing about what's going on with that Raiders organization. I don't even know if Garoppolo is still starting or not. What are the Vikings up against this weekend?
Yeah, well, I think it's really hard to say. You know, with Jacobs, you know, the run game has gotten going, but I think for the Vikings, it's really more about, what are we going to do? How different can we be offensively? How much can we improve offensively? And, for a team like the Raiders playing at home in that hostile environment, and I think that the Vikings just have to get out there and kind of figure that whole thing out here during the bye week. But I think if they go out there, they play their game, I think they win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Vikings definitely have the schedule is in their favor. The Bengals, we're going to see the Bengals tonight, actually, the Joe Burrow-less Bengals. That's the Vikings' next game, I think, or one after, whatever it is. Their schedule's very it's leaning in their favor if they do play the football they're capable of playing. Robert, you still do some college football, and you've done that for years. I want to ask you, while we got you, your thoughts on the college football playoff. Florida State not in, despite being undefeated, into the Final Four. Where does that sit with you?
I know that it's supposed to be the 4 best teams. Mm-hmm. But, I don't know where that line is. And this is a discussion we had, especially back in the BCS days when it was only 2 teams.
Right.
How far does the best team go versus the most deserving team that's undefeated? And it's really hard to say. Florida State obviously hasn't looked as good without Travis in at quarterback.
Right.
But for me, it's hard to keep a Power 5 team, especially one. And look, I know that LSU and Florida were down this year, but it's just hard for me to see keeping a team like them out when they're undefeated, especially with Alabama. I know they beat Georgia, great win, and this was so crazy the week before, beating Auburn that way on the road. But with a 4th down and just crazy play, right? Mm-hmm. And I was in the Uber, and that play paused on my YouTube TV, like right when Milroe drops back to throw that pass. So I didn't. I was like, "There's just no way this happened."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard for me to see keeping that team out. But look, all of the narratives about, ESPN wants this or that, that's nonsense. Like, people don't even understand who they're insulting when they say things like that. And there are 13 people that get into a room, and they're staking their reputation on the decisions that they make. And if they feel that Alabama was the better team and most deserving because their one loss, came to a team that's also in the top 4, then it's okay. It's hard for me to see just, on the face of it, justifying it.
Right.
But they went in, they did their work. They're all good people. They're not taking instructions from ESPN or anybody else on matchups. They're trying to find the 4 best teams, and that's where they landed.
But Robert, that's too much gray area. I need conspiracy theories, damn it.
Isn't that going to go away next year? Isn't it next year they go to the 12 team?
If you want conspiracy theories, there are plenty of places to have them. You can go on the cruise and have a paranormal experience.
That's right.
Too.
That's right. So wait, Zepp, you just said that. So next year is the 12-team playoff, right? That comes in next season.
Yeah.
Whew.
Right.
Man,
that's going to be wild.
Yeah, it sure is. Now, do you think so? Right now, in case anyone hadn't paid attention, in order of rankings: Michigan, Washington, Texas, Alabama. So Michigan, Alabama. Do you think Michigan will win by 3 or 4 touchdowns? Wow, that's a legitimate laugh. Oh my God, that's not even a polite laugh. He's literally laughing at me.
No. I mean, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, I know.
No, seriously. Like, we can pretend that we know, but who knows what's going to happen? The way that Michigan's defense has been playing, and obviously McCarthy and those backs. I mean, it's been impressive. And Alabama, as we saw, they almost lost to Auburn. So it's not like it's impossible that they win. Maybe not 3 or 4 touchdowns, but
I tell you what, I did say when they beat Auburn on that miracle last-second touchdown a week ago, I said they're going to beat Georgia now. When a team escapes like that, they almost always come back and play great. That's just the gods of football reward you for the miracle win, almost like.
Right.
That's the kind of thing I say, the gods of football, because I don't know enough about the sport to actually have informed takes. Robert, always a pleasure, brother. Thank you for the time.
You got it, my man.
See ya. Robert Smith with us every week at this time, sponsored by Polar Tool and Supply, your trusted name for power tools and fasteners. Visit polartool.us.
All right, we'll get along to some rocking out and then sports and music history coming. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. The class, should I stay or should I go? A question that the band Kiss has been asking themselves for decades, it seems. They have made the decision to go, at least in human form. Kiss wrapped up the end of the road tour Saturday night at Madison Square Garden, their hometown of New York City, just a few blocks from where they've played their first ever gig, in fact, at Madison Square Garden. Towards the end of the night, Paul said the end of the road is the beginning of another road. We're not going anywhere. You'll see us all in different things all the time. We'll see you in your dreams. And then a video of them as fantasy-based superhero avatars performing their 1991 cover of the song God Gave Rock and Roll to You, along with a QR code. That's what aired on all the screens. Took you to their new website and a special announcement. They will be the first U.S. band with an avatar show. So, yeah, if you missed Kiss in person, that's okay. You can still go see the avatar/hologram new Kiss experience. Like I said earlier, I always thought they would menudo themselves. I really thought they would just hire younger, fitter replacements. But I guess Gene and Paul were like, no, if we're not doing it, no one's doing it. So with that, I mean, it is the end of an era. Sebastian Bach of Skid Row in the audience seen crying as Kiss left the stage.
He was weeping.
Yeah, just devistated. That's
he
it.
tells a great story about going over to Gene Simmons' house one time, and there was a Gene Simmons action figure, one of his dolls, sitting there, and he told Gene, he's like, oh, my God, when I was a kid growing up, I always wanted one of those dolls, but we were poor, and we couldn't afford one, and God, I've always wanted one of those, and Gene hands it to him, and he said, well, here you go, man, and I'll sell it to you for a friendly price for cost.
That's right. That's
he
right.
did. He charged him. He made him pay him right there on the spot.
Gene,
cost.
Gene is always, at least he's self-deprecating enough where the money comes from. He's always like, I never waste a penny. Every dollar matters. I grew up with nothing. I mean, I totally get where he's coming from. I saw Gene Simmons at there's a hotel in West Hollywood called the Sunset Marquis, and I was staying there in the 90s making a record. And I walked to the front desk, and Gene Simmons was standing at the front desk. He had just walked in from his car, and he was holding a box, and in the box were sandwiches. Not like from a deli, but it was filled with like sandwiches in Ziploc bags, like that he or someone had made for himself.
Yeah.
And he was just standing there. I looked over, and I'd never met the guy before. I just went, hey, Gene, how you doing? He's like, how you doing, brother? Like kind of like that, how you doing, man? I said, good. Yeah. I said, well, you just got some sandwiches there? Like I couldn't help it. I had to say it. And he just said, I don't remember the exact words. It was a paraphrase. Hey, man, you travel with your own sandwiches. It's one less thing to think about. Or basically, he had some throwaway phrase. And it hit me. I was like, oh, wait. I mean, like, he's going to be here for a while, and he brought his own food. And I don't know if that was true, but that was what he was implying. I've never seen him since without picturing him holding a box full of sandwiches.
On each little individual bag, did it have written in Sharpie, Gene?
Gene, Monday lunch. Gene, Monday snack. Gene, Monday dinner. Oh man, it's. I tell you, man. By the way, this whole Avatar thing, Mick Jagger said recently he had looked into it. He considered the Stones maybe doing something similar. Pete Townsend is on the record saying, "Oh hell no, not a chance we would ever do anything like that." Led Zeppelin was approached by one of these tech companies saying we could do an Avatar Led Zeppelin tour. And they, of course, were like, oh, please, get out of here. Like, they wouldn't even play gigs with a different drummer. They're not going to go put themselves up there as avatars. So, end of the road for Kiss, unless, of course, you want to go see the Avatar tour. But we're always going to have the records, the memories, and, of course, the Paul Stanley, the greatest frontman shtick of all time. just his exhortations to the crowd. the stuff of legend.
Oh, I'm going to fall asleep with this tonight. You found 45 minutes. Someone, some genius out there has taken the time to edit together just 45 minutes of Paul Stanley's onstage banner. Here's just a sample of that deliciousness.
All right, listen. I want to know if we got any people here tonight that like to get high.
It's incredible.
We got any people tonight that are high? All right, then, listen. You know, every once in a while, we like to get a little wasted. We like to take a taste of alcohol.
Great.
And I tell you, when we won't get going, we ain't going to be drinking no Southern Comfort, no.
Uh-oh.
No, we ain't going to be drinking no tequila.
Cowbell. Cowbell for tequila.
Because I tell you, when we won't get going, you know there's only one drink that gets us moving.
Gene changing his cod piece.
I can't hear you.
He's drinking out of his cod piece.
Louder, Coke.
Man.
Yeah, that is just
Sprite.
You know,
45 minutes nonstop. Paul Stanley stage banter. Yeah, we'll get it up on the KQ Facebook page today for you.
Does anybody like mixers? You know a guy isn't much of a drinker when he says, we like to drink alcohol.
All right.
Isopropyl alcohol.
Oh,
Who wants one of Gene's sandwiches?
Oh, my God. One of my favorites at the Excel probably about 15 years ago. And St. Paul, are you a bunch of saints?
Oh.
Are you good? Are you saints? Are you a bunch of rock and roll? Are you sinners? I'm like, Paul, you're just. I love the creativity, man. Thanks for sculpting it just for the Twin Cities.
I seriously love that so much. It's like, and because once you've seen Kiss, once you've understood Kiss, well, I mean, but there are always people seeing them for the first time. I mean, that's the thing that I think a lot of, I lost sight of that in my own band. You're like, the last time I toured with the Black Crowes in 2013, I'd get off stage, you go out, you're walking to the bus, and there's like college kids, and they want an autograph, and I'm like, what are you doing here? like your first time seeing us, it's like you just think like, wow, still there's new kids that come. And for Kiss, obviously every generation of fans has discovered Kiss. And so as much as I just think that Paul shtick is hilarious, it's if you've never seen Kiss and that guy's up there screaming like that, you're just like, oh, hell yeah. I mean, it's great.
Listen. It wasn't too long ago we was here, and I tell you, every time we come here, damn it just gets better and better. You people are dynamite, and I just know. I know if we get this place any hotter tonight. I said I know if we get this place any hotter tonight. We're gonna have to call out.
I've fallen.
We're gonna have to call out.
Man.
Oh, my God.
We're gonna have to call out.
It's just going and going.
It just goes.
It's awesome,
does.
man.
It
doesn't even matter what the song he's going into. It's like by the time the song starts, you're exhausted.
They never went through a real pretentious stage. Of course, they took the makeup off for a while. That was the first time I saw them, and I went, I grew up with, Kiss Alive 2 and all of that, Destroyer, and all those fantastic albums. So I wasn't much interested after that until they put the makeup back on. But it's just campy, silly rock and roll fun at its base.
Yeah.
Best.
Oh, sure. It's fantastic. I mean, and again, the idea that when this band first hit, we were all kids in the 70s. If you had said, oh, yeah, that they're going to do a farewell tour, it's going to wrap up in 2023. I'm sorry, man. I don't care what you're doing. If you're doing something for 51 years, well done. Well played. Tip of the hat to Kiss. Now and forever. Let's look back as long as we're here.
So, my friend, how do we begin?
Who is in charge here?
Who is in charge?
He plays the drums.
Well, Hello, Steve.
Here's a little sports history, kind of. In 2001 on this day, O.J. Simpson was involved in an incident with another motorist in Miami. A little bit of road rage. Simpson was accused of ripping the man's glasses off his face and scratching him. They were getting chippy with each other. And again, it just brings the question to mind for me, who's messing with O.J. Simpson?
Yeah. I was thinking, I mean, he's pretty arthritic now, but he can still hold a golf club, so he can still hold a knife, I assume.
Oh, he can still hold all kinds of things. And I mean, really, just, the man, I don't mess with anybody I even barely suspect has murdered humans in the past, much less someone who has.
Yeah, why poke
That's
that
just
bear?
me. Yeah. I saw O.J. Simpson in the flesh once in the late 90s in L.A. in Encino, California, just on a public muni golf course, like a goat farm, like $20 for a round of 9 holes. I mean, what I'm saying is hardly a country club. It was just public muni course. And I looked over in the next fairway, and there was Orenthal James murdering Simpson, and it chilled me to my core to see the man.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
He brutally murdered 2 people.
Yeah, he sure did.
The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.